สวัสดีครับยินดีต้อนรับครับ Welcome to another coding session of Spot Skills with Sunil. Today we are going to continue วันนี้เราจะต่อไปจากครั้งที่แล้วครับ So we finished up the email and the image section down here, and we have this other section, if I can find it again in my other window. We have the other section down here where we are going to look at the footer section วันนี้เราจะตั้งใจบน footer section ครับนี้ส่วนครับเราจะใช้ grid flex เราจะใช้วิธีอื่นด้วยครับ so we are going to arrange these in grid down here probably flex over here flex in flex and then do some spacing but basically give you an idea of how to set up these three sections down here and let's get started so ตอนนี้เรามีส่วนแบบนี้ครับเรามี section ดูแบบนี้ครับแค่มี background สีขาวและมี contact information ที่นี่ครับและมี web host logo ที่นี่มี useful links มี product แล้วก็มี list items ข้างล่างและมี search box และมี footer จริงๆข้างล่างครับ so in our index we're going to change a few things first so ครั้งที่แรกครับจะไปถึง footer section และข้างใน footer section ของเราครับผมจะใส่ทั้งหมดนี้ข้างใน container ครับเหมือนกันส่วนอื่นๆครับ so just like all the other sections we're going to put this one into a div.container and that goes just underneath the footer และผมจะเก็บ div นี้และใส่ข้างหลังที่นี่ครับ Alright, so that will kick everything into our container. So it's lined up flush here. และทำอีกหนึ่งครับ so I'm going to put in another div up above the footer contact and put this in as footer inner. Actually, sorry. I'm going to put it in here as being. Actually, I will leave this alone for now, and I will add in footer contact items as item as a class for each one of these. So underneath footer contact,มี div footer location and footer contact item ผมจะแค่เพิ่ม footer contact item ข้างๆทั้งหมดนี้ครับ so let me make this a little bit wider so we can see it. So here's my footer contact item and footer contact item. So I'm going to move all of these at the same exact time. And that should be it. Also, here I noticed I did make a bit of a mistake. So here, this is not one giant footer. Technically, this down here is the main footer, and this part right here, and this part should be like a site navigation or a footer site navigation. แต่ในสถานการณ์นี้ผมจะแค่ออกจากออกส่วนนี้จากที่นี้และใส่ข้างหลังครับ and then we can address this in another moment. And just before we do that, I'm going to put this inside of a div container as well. Okay, and then we should be all set to go. Cool. So ครั้งที่แรกผมจะตั้งใจบน footer section ทีนี้ครับ so นี่คือ footer section ใช้ footer tag ได้ครับและมี id ของ footer ครับและเราอยากใช้ C นี้ไม่รู้สีอะไรไม่มีสีดำสีอื่นสีเทาน้ำเงินครับ so we're gonna take the color picker that we have pick from the web page and I'm going to as long as I have that little box มีกล่องข้างๆ in the upper right corner of my arrow I can just click และผมจะเห็นว่ามีสีเบอร์2ตัวอักษร C 3 ครั้งครับ so I can copy that และใส่ข้างใน style sheet ของเราครับและข้างใน style sheet ของเราครับมี footer color จะใส่ข้างในนี้มัน variable และข้างล่างที่นี้ครับมีส่วน footer ข้างใน style CSS ของเราครับและข้างๆ footer จะมี footer ID และ background คืออะไรครับ background var minus footer color แค่นั้นครับเราจะเห็นว่าเกิดอะไรครับ okay now we have this little footer section and ตอนนี้ผมจะแค่แสดงว่าอันนี้location อันนี้3สิ่งที่ครับจะใส่ใน background ไว้และดูแบบนี้ครับ so how do I make that happen inside here I've got my footer contact so footer contact and inside footer contact I want to do dot footer contact และ display as flex และเปลี่ยนไปแล้วครับ so now if I look at this อันนี้ทั้ง3ข้างๆกันและ ผมจะเปลี่ยน background ครับ so background is going to be white and we see that it takes up the full width. We can do a text align center. There we go. And we can do a width of 50%. And we can do a justify content center. And that will make everything very nice and in the middle inside. แค่จำเป็นต้องใช้ margin 0 and auto, and that changes it to the center. So I'm going to reduce the size of this so we can see the changes happening live. I do have ตอนนี้มี live server Wingnai background ครับ running in the background, and there we go. So we have something looking very similar to this, not quite exact, but it's getting there. Okay, ตอนนี้จำเป็นต้องทำอะไรบ้างครับข้างบนมี padding top and bottom padding ผมอยากเพิ่ม top and bottom padding. So padding top and bottom คือ 50 pixels และ 0 left and right แล้วก็เราเห็นว่าจะเกิดอะไรครับ so we have padding on the top, very nice, and we should be good to go. One thing I want to do here is align items to center as well, and that makes everything here fall in line. All right, so inside here I also want a border radius of about, let's say, 50 pixels, and that should round out these borders, very nice. And then I also want to do a dot footer contact item และผมจะใส่นี้ข้างใน flex ด้วยครับ so I toss that into a flex and I align items, align self, and I do a align center, and then I can do a justify content space between, and that'll space these elements out. And one second. One thing I want to do up top here, sorry, before I do that, is a column gap. And I'll make that one 100 pixels to spread those out. Whoops, wrong spot. I want to do that here. So that's my column gap. And I want to do a padding in here of 20 pixels to give those some space. And inside my contact item, I want to be able to say dot footer contact item image, and I want to do align self and center for the image, and that should fix the images to make them align to the center. Okay, และข้างใน contact item ที่ได้ครับผมอยากใช้ column gap ข้างในนี้แค่อยากใช้20 pixels ระหว่างนี้ครับ so if we zoom in, now we've got these gaps. I'm going to make this a bit wider just so as we zoom in we have a little more space to be able to take a look at it. So ถ้าจะไปข้างใน what did we do in here? We did a flex for the main. So flex for these three divs, div 1, div 2, and div 3. div ที่ได้ครับอันนี้ flex 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 และข้างในทั้งทั้งสามนี้ครับมี2ตัวข้างในครับมี image และมีparagraph tag. So ข้างในนี้มี image และมี paragraph tag ข้างในก็มี2ตัวข้างใน footer contact item. So มี flex ให้3ครั้ง3สิ่งที่นี้และมี flex ด้วยให้2สิ่งที่นี้ด้วยครับ So these two items got flexed and they automatically moved to a row. These three items got flexed and moved to a row. Otherwise, in HTML, they were stacked on top of each other. So if I got rid of all of this, if I said, okay, จะลบทั้งหมดนั้นครับจะเปลี่ยนไปถึงอย่างไรครับ these are all on 1, 2, 3. So this on top of this, on top of this, on top of this, on top of this. We did a flex for this group, and this group. And that would be, I'm going to change that there and comment these two out. Whoops. So once we did that, then we got all three of these items in a row down here. And then in order to get these items next to these items, next to the location, อันนี้ผมแค่อยาก text ข้างๆ image ครับผมอยาก text นี้ข้างๆ image ผมแค่ใช้ display flex อีกหนึ่งครั้งครับ and that is it done และตอนนี้จะเปลี่ยนสีของนี้ครับข้างใน contact item เปลี่ยนสีถึง AAA, and that should make it light enough to where it's similar to this one. So there we go. ถ้าจะ zoom out ครับเราจะเห็นว่าดูคล้ายๆกันนี่ครับถ้าเกิดว่าอยากใช้ width น้อยกว่านี้ครับใช้ width 50%ใช้ width 60%แล้วแต่คุณครับ so you can mess around with it, see how much you want to take down the width or whatever. All right, so now we are done with that section. Now เจอต่อไปถึง footer site nav section. So dot footer site nav ผมอยากใช้วิธี grid ให้นี้ครับ so ผมจะใช้ display grid ที่นี้ครับและผมจะใช้ grid template columns และ repeat or sorry ขอโทษครับ one fr one frame length and two frame lengths ผมอยากใช้ one frame length ที่นี้ one frame length ให้นี้และสอง frame length ที่นี้อันนี้ถ้าเกิดว่ามี12 if I have 12 sections 12 ส่วนข้างในเว็บเพจของผมครับมี12 ส่วนจากด้านขวาหรือด้านซ้ายจนถึงด้านขวาถ้าเกิดว่ามี one frame และ two frame ผมจะรู้ว่าอันนี้ก็มี3 frame อันนี้ก็มี3 frame อันนี้ก็มี6 frame so this is going to be double the length of both of these so this is going to be 3 and 6 for this one so once I hit save these are now going to move horizontal and I can just do a margin 0 auto and move all of that to the center. Oops, apologies, that did not move to the center. One thing I think I have to do is, that was weird, why didn't it move? I can just do a text align center and that should move everything to the center. Cool, so now we have our items in the center. This looks sort of off center because it is off to taking up 2 frames. We will fix this. เราจะแก้ไขนี้และจะเปลี่ยนสี color to pound FFF and there we go. Now we can see all of those. และจะเปลี่ยนไปถึงimage จะเปลี่ยน size ของ image. So let's change that one up. IMG and change this to width of about let's say 60% and see what that looks like. All right, and maybe make it a little bit smaller to 50%. There we go. So we have that as 50%. And I will change the useful links and product. So those are under footer product and footer useful. So here I'm going to group these 2 items. Oh, also I forgot. The form I'm going to stick inside form นี้จะใส่ข้างในelement นี้ครับข้างใน div นั้นครับ and there we go และ now that form will move underneath product และจะใส่ทั้งสองนี้ข้างใน links footer links div so div dot footer links และข้างใน footer links ตอนนี้ I can just do dot footer links and we can do text align left. Done. Oh, I did mess up one thing though. I screwed up in that I can't use footer links because what happens is now my div for my footer site nav, what I did originally was my footer site nav was displaying all 3 of these elements and now I've changed this into a second element. So 2 elements. So let me show you exactly what happens. Now this page thinks there's 2 elements. มีแค่1 element อันนี้ element เบอร์2ครับ This is the second element. ไม่มี3 element ปกติมีในสมัยก่อน just before 90 มี3 element มี element 1 มี element เบอร์2และมี element เบอร์3 Okay, so I want to get rid of this to keep my original form of doing it. And I'm going to show you a different way we can stack CSS and apply the same type of formatting to different elements. So dot footer useful dot footer product. And we can do a text align center. Whoops, I want to do a text align left, sorry. There we go. And now that we have that text align to the left, I can change my font size for both to 20 pixels. I can change a color to FFF. And I can probably change my list item. So take these two again, and we can do a links and li links here. So we can change these to text decoration, or sorry, li for both. And we can change these to list style image. Tini mi image. Hai bullet point ni kap, kang kang ni. So I can change this same way we did background to /images / nai satanagan ni ke bulit icon. So this is bulit icon le kang nai style bulit -icon.png and เราจะเปลี่ยนไปทั้งหมดนี้ถึง bullet point แบบนี้ So what I'm also going to do is change up the useful links and product and change that title and go to .footer title, which I don't have yet. One thing I want to change here is footer product title and footer useful title. I can just keep those the same and keep them footer title. And we can do a text transform, uppercase, font size. We will reduce this down to 20 or 25 pixels. And there we go, much smaller. I do want to add a margin top or a padding top, padding top of 50 pixels. And that will push this down a little bit. Perfect. And my image, I'm going to do a padding top of 100 pixels. And that should push the image down. Oops, not a padding. I want a margin top. There we go. That's weird. I might have to mess with that a little bit later on. But, oh, I'm doing it in the wrong place. My mistake. I want to do a margin top of 100 pixels. And that might be too much and move the whole thing. Yeah, cool. It looks okay. All right. So now that is closer to the middle, and now I'm going to work on these links. All right. So here what I'm doing is I'm just going by what I see and just kind of making it as I want to see fit. So footer, useful, LIs, I do want to put in a margin here. Margin of bottom of, let's say, 5 pixels. And that'll give me some more space in between these. Maybe 10 pixels might be enough. And there we go. That looks a little bit nicer. And also what I'm going to do is .footer useful A. I'm going to change the A links in here to be a color white. And text decoration, none. That gets rid of the underline. And so when I look back here, now I should have, whoops, where did that go wrong? Did I call that something different? Footer, useful, links, whoops. That is probably why. Footer, useful, links. All right, there we go. That changed it to where we have these as all white. Okay, ตอนนี้เราจะเปลี่ยนไปถึง product. So now I can go to my footer useful product dot footer useful or footer product. And my footer product is here. And what I want to do is change my footer product links. So here, footer product links, and I'm going to do a display grid. Letini grid template columns. I'm going to do a repeat, and we're going to do 3 frames, 1 FR each, and then I should have 2 separate rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Cool. So I'm going to zoom out, and that looks much nicer. Okay, ตอนนี้เราจะตั้งใจบน search button ทีนี้ครับข้างใน form ที่เดียวครับเราใช้ input ที่นี้และผมจะลบ input เลยเปลี่ยนไปถึง button it's a good idea to use buttons instead of inputs for submit. Buttons give more control. So here, button.button, and we're going to call this form footer form submit or subscribe. And we're going to type in subscribe. And that should do it for the button. And now I have my automatic button class here. และข้างใน CSS ของเราครับ all we're going to do is, I also do want to type in class equals footer form input because we only have one and it's okay. And dot footer form input width, I'm going to make this 60% of the total width, which is fine. Maybe you want to make it 80%, which is fine, up to you, however wide you want it. But I'm going to make mine 60%, and we're going to give this a padding of 20 pixels, 20 pixels, 20 pixels, and 20 pixels. ทำไมผมเขียนว่าทั้ง4 20 pixels เพราะว่าเมื่อไรผมจะอยากทำวิธีแบบนี้ผมจะปรับ height และ width ของนี้ครับก็มีไซส์นี้เท่ากัน button นี้ครับ so we're going to see how that button is going to be slightly off but we will fix that in a moment. So here I'm going to start bringing in my button. So dot footer form subscribe and make sure I have the right one. Display none. And there we go. There goes the button. Cool. We want to change the background to color to my variable minus primary color. So now we see that subscribe button. And we want to change our border, top left and right, or top right and bottom right. So border top right is going to be 50 pixels, and border bottom right is going to be 50 pixels. And I want my border bottom left to be 0 pixels, and I want my border top right to be, did I screw that up? I think I did. So top left, top left, there we go, to be 0 pixels. And if I do that, now we have this edge here, and we have a rounded border here. So what I'm going to do is zoom in so we can see this a little bit live. Zoom out just a little bit. There we go. So now I'm going to bring that in. And so we can see this in action, I'm going to reduce this down to, let's say, 50%. So we can see it a little bit closer. There we go. And now I'm going to bring the subscribe in just a little bit over here. And I'm going to do that with a margin left. Margin left เพราะว่าผมอยากดึงจาก left side ถึงจาก right side ถึง left side. So I'm going to use a minus. Let's do a minus 50 pixels and see what that brings us. So as we go down, cool, that looks all right. Now I just have to match these border heights. And what I can do to make it easy, as opposed to reloading every time, is just open this window and go into my elements, go down to my footer, and I'm going to do some live coding. And inside my footer site nav, I'm on my useful footer product form, and inside here I've got my button. And instead of margin left and padding, I can go to my input, and my input I am going to change up my padding. So my padding top, which is this first value, let's make it 23. 24, okay, that looks okay. And when I do that, all right, not bad. And if I need to, I can change this up to 21 and see what that looks like. And I think I'll go back to 19, or sorry, 20. Perfect. And there we go. So I know 24, 20, 20, and 20. So all I got to do is change this up to 24, and I am good to go. Now we are good. So that looks pretty good. I'm going to zoom out of here. There we go. Close this out. And our bottom looks quite similar. And in my form input, just stick in a border radius. Border radius. Can't type today. Can't my die. 50 pixels. And there we go. Looks pretty nice. Looks pretty even. We can change up the font size to 20 pixels. And we might have to change up the padding a little bit and reduce this down if we changed up the font size. So 22 and make this 19. And that should fix that. All right. Weird. Why did that not? There we go. 20. Done. And we are good to go. And we have this final footer at the very bottom left to do. And that footer at the very bottom is now under the footer contact or footer copyright. So all I'm going to do is dot footer copyright background var, and I'm going to change this up to the primary color, and we will see this change up. Now we want to give it some padding, so we want to give it right now it has a margin of 0 and auto, and that'll get rid of the margins on both sides. And I wonder where that margin down below is coming from. One thing I want to see is maybe I added too much margin somewhere else. So let's take a look. So we're going to go into footer, and at the very bottom we see that we have the container there for our footer, and our footer class is there, and our footer copyright is there. So there's something that's pushing down that element to a lower value. So where is it coming from? We can just hover over here until we figure it out. And we can see that it is none of these items. All right, that's fine. And we can see that it might be my container, and it might be my P class. There it is. So in my P class, I have to say display margin. I want 0 margin inside my P class. So here's my P class. It's automatically styled, so I have to remove the styling or the margin from there. So I can do one of two things. Dot footer copyright. Oops. Dot footer copyright P. I can do a margin 0 auto, and that gets rid of my margin. And I can do a text align center, and now that kicks it into the center. And in my P class, what I want to do is add a padding of 30 pixels. Give that some height. Cool, it's in the middle. And I'm going to change the color to FFF. There we go. Font size is going to be 20 pixels. All right, done. And one thing I want to do is go and get my font. So Google Fonts, and I'm going to download a font and import it into my my project. And I'm going to look for Railway. That's a very common one that is here. And I want to get the regular 400, select this style, and now I can go into the link, or I can go into the import. And I'm going to choose import, so I can just copy this whole thing, :import, and I'm going to go all the way to the very top of my CSS file, and font import, and I've imported Railway. Now here in my font family, all I have to do is add in Railway. So inside here it tells me how to add it in as well, CSS rules to apply. So I can just do a simple copy of that Railway, copy it in, paste it in, and now once I refresh my page, we see all our fonts change slightly. So now they are matching what is in the regular file. So if I go back here, my font changed up. Unlimited web hosting looks a lot more similar to this one. Now I've got why you should choose us. I've got why you should choose us. So I save this for the very end because it's super simple to add your font and change up the whole thing, and you're good to go. And now we have a much more similar font. I can go through and make these bold if I want to, choose a different font, up to you on how you want to do it, but just wanted to show you how to import fonts at the very end as well. So if I removed Railway off of our project, and I will save that in a moment, we will see all of this change. And so now we see it go back to the old way that it was. So I'm going to put Railway back in, and we are good to go. So hopefully today วันนี้ผมหวังว่าคุณมีโอกาสเรียนวิธีไหมให้ arrange จัด element ของ web page ของนี้ครับ so we are finally almost done. Next time we're going to learn how to make this more responsive. So as we shrink the web page, elements are going to shift. It doesn't look pretty, it doesn't look very good. How are we going to move things around to make them look better? And we'll get into responsive web pages and make this page even more powerful for mobile or for smaller screens or smaller devices. All right, ผมหวังว่ามีโอกาสเรียนครับ. We will meet each other next time. เจอกันนั้นครับ. Have a good day. Bye.